So, what to sell and what to avoid. Now, the product selection strategies that we're going to show, that we're going to go over, will be much simpler than you are expecting. My apologies in advance if you like things complicated. Something else I'm going to tell you is they are going to be more labor intensive and less magic button, push button, magic rainbows and unicorns than you probably also want to see. But that's the reality of the situation. You're building a business and a business takes work. Okay? There's no magic button. The 6 rules of product selection. Number 1, sell what is already selling. Innovation is overrated. You don't have to go out and create or find or dream up a product that nobody else has ever sold before. That's actually the worst thing you can do. When you have a product the market knows nothing about, that's never been out there, you don't face a marketing problem, you face an education problem, because you have to educate the market as to what the product is and why they need it, and then you have to sell them on it. We want to sell something that is already selling, that people already want to buy. Why? Because we don't want to convince them that they need to buy it. We just want to sell it to them. Number 2, don't compete with name brand products. You are not going to compete with KitchenAid, Kellogg's, Canon, Sony, Kleenex. Don't go after categories that are name brand driven. Okay? You want to, there are hundreds of millions of categories and products out there in the market that the people don't care if it's a major name brand product. They maybe have brand loyalty on a niche level, but it's not like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or things like that. Don't try to go sell Canon. Don't sell a TI Rebel, right? Or Rebel camera, right? Why? Because everybody else selling that same camera is getting it for the exact same price that you are. Okay? And then guess what? You all have the same kind of restrictions that Canon specifies, and you're selling against everybody else who sells that same product. Don't compete with name brand products. You only want to sell products that are in non-branded categories where you can build your own brand in that niche. Build a brand, not an income stream. This is something that nobody gets. Okay? We don't want, actually, I don't want you guys to think of this as an income stream. This is not some, I'm selling a t-shirt today and tomorrow I'm an AdSense expert and the next week I'm an SEO guy and then I'm selling local businesses. No, we're building a business and the business revolves around the brand. Okay? A brand can be sold, a brand can grow, an income stream just dries up. Okay? We want to build a brand. Make brand-centric decisions. Okay? Know your numbers before you start. There are some numbers that you can't figure out until you've actually done it, but there is a whole lot of educated guessing and guesstimating and figuring that can go into planning out your method of attack and the products that you're going to target and things like that before you start. You don't jump before you know, okay? You can ready, fire, aim, but when it comes to physical products and you're having to buy large quantities and you're having to import and you can do all these different things, if you don't know your numbers, you may wind up with a losing proposition and then be stuck with a whole bunch of products that either you can't afford to unload or you're going to have to sell at a huge loss. Number 5, don't be afraid of competition. Competition is good. The more competition there is, the better, okay? The hotter, the more exciting, the more in demand a product is, the better off you are, okay? Because it means there's plenty of people wanting to buy it, okay? Again, providing that it doesn't violate one of the other 6 rules of selling. So if there's tons of competition, but it's in a name brand category that's very, very brand driven with mainstream, blue chip type brands, then that's not good competition, okay? This is one of the reasons the supplement category is so popular. There's insane competition, but the supplement category can be entered by practically anybody, and there's a ton of money to be made in the supplement game, just like there is in almost any other category, but people kind of get blinded by that one thought of selling, lotions, potions, thigh creams, butt creams kind of stuff. Number 6, plan on marketing your product better. This is what's going to be the clincher and the deal breaker in your business. Okay, this is what's going to give you the income you want versus making you struggle. Very few people can rely on just listing a product on Amazon and calling it good. That's not how it works, guys. Know from the get-go, make it into your plan that you are going to be a better marketer of a product than your competition. Because chances are, most of your competition are crappy marketers because they think their business is foam rollers. I'm in the foam roller business. I'm in the exercise equipment business. No, you're not. You're in the marketing business. You just don't know it. These are the 6 rules of product selection. Follow these 6 rules as you select and as you go through and as you start looking for products to sell. What to look for in a product. Number 1, can the product be private label? Can you print your logo on it? Can you package it your way? Can you change the color? Can you do something? Can you make it your own? Can you not sell a product that has a Sony logo on it? Can you make it yourself? Okay. Can you have it branded to make it look like it's yours? You want to sell supplements? Can you label the bottle and they put their glop in it, but then you got your own product, right? You want to sell spatulas? Can they, either laser engrave or screen print, depending on the type of spatula it is, your logo onto the spatula, and can they package it in packaging that you design and provide the artwork for so that it looks unique and different from everything else in the marketplace? Can you make it stand out? Can you make it your own so that you can control the buy box and that you could have a better chance of selling it? Can it be sourced in both small and large quantities? A lot of the time, you have a budget that you have to work with, especially when people are just starting out. A lot of people have a small budget. They have to kind of work their way up. All right, so if the product you want to sell can only be purchased in large quantities and that's outside of your means, that's probably not a product that you should start with. Okay, so you need to make sure that you can source it in both small and large quantities, and then you also want to make sure that if it can be sourced both of those ways, that the pricing changes as your quantity increases. If you have to buy smaller quantities, naturally you're going to pay a higher price per unit. As the quantity increases significantly, you should start to pay a lower price per unit. Number 3, is it in demand? The product has to be in demand. Like we said, you need competition. Do people want to buy it? Are people actively looking, searching, and buying? Are there advertisers actively spending money on this product? Can it be sold for at least $9.95? I don't believe that in selling products for less than this price point, because anything less than this and you're not making any money. Okay, you have to sell huge volume in order to make money below this price point. Personally, in our company, we don't even look at a product that sells for less than $40. Okay, but we have made money, and we know a lot of people are making good money with products in the $9, $10, $20 range. My personal favorite is to find products that I can sell between $60 and $100. That's my personal favorite because I like making 40, 50 bucks profit per sale. I'd rather sell less than more. Also, does it have a high gross profit margin where you can mark it up at least 100%? Okay? Meaning, if you're going to sell it for 10 bucks or buy it for 10 bucks, you need to be able to sell it for 20. If you sell it for 10 bucks, you better be buying it for 5 at the most. If you can't mark it up at least 100%, find a different product. Is the product of moderate to high quality? Not every product people find or sell is going to be the next, going to last when the world explodes and still be has an identifiable chunk or anything like that. But you want the product to not get a lot of refunds. You want the product to last, to stand up to whatever abuse it's supposed to handle or do what it's supposed to be doing, right? So make sure that it's of moderate to high quality. If the only supplier you can find is a garbage supplier, maybe think twice because it doesn't take very many bad reviews to ruin your listing. Is the product lightweight? This is not a must-have, but especially if you're importing and you have to pay for shipping, it costs money to ship, okay? And the heavier something is, the more money it costs. If it's light, if it's small, if it's portable, it's easier to ship, and there's more profit, more money involved for you. Is it durable and not prone to breakage? If any of you guys have ever worked for FedEx or UPS or the post office, you know that those people are the most gentle with the packages. They never squish, step on, jam, punch, kick, drop, throw, any kind of package. Okay, I used to work at the airport at the gateway for UPS packing air cans when I was younger. And we had to pack those things so tight that if there was a gap that was 3 inches wide and the box was 4 inches, well, we would just squish that box down to make it fit. So things get damaged in shipping all the time. That's the point. So make sure the product is durable and not prone to breakage in shipment. So when you're importing them, as well as shipping them to Amazon, as well as Amazon shipping them to the customer, you have less breakage. You also preferably want a product that is not bulky or large. Again, this is optional. But let's say the product's lightweight but is really bulky, like a big roll of foam, okay? Air filters. Anthony, perfect example. Air filters. They're bulky, they're large, they can't be folded up. Okay, Anthony actually has looked into these, okay? They're a real pain in the butt to get shipped overseas because they are so bulky. You can't do anything but container shipping, okay? You have to get in a container. So these are things that are making it a little bit more difficult to get involved with the product, okay? Again, these are not hard and fast things you have to follow. If you want to go buck the trend, go for it. But these are the guidelines that have proven effective over and over and over and over again. Number 10, is it consumable? Again, asterisk, because it's not totally required. It is nice if the product is consumable, meaning the person will buy more than one of them over time. Supplements are very popular for this because as soon as you take all the pills, you got to buy some more, all right? And you can develop brand loyalty and they'll keep buying your pills over and over and over again. Same thing with all kinds of facial treatments and things like that. Air filters are consumables. Dog poop bags are consumables. Things like that, okay? There's all kinds of consumable products out there. They don't have to be consumable. I will tell you that with our companies, we only have one consumable product, okay? It hasn't even launched yet, okay? All the money that we're making is coming from non-consumable products. The people may buy one or two of them, but they're not going to buy one every week or every month or every 2 months or whatever. It's not a normal consumable. So don't feel like this is a requirement. Is in an Amazon allowed category? There are some categories that you're not allowed to sell on, okay? And there are some categories within those categories that like you may be able to sell, but then you get into the next category you think you can sell in and all of a sudden you can't. Certain types of products can't be sold on Amazon. One of the niches that we're very large into is the firearms market. Okay, we don't sell guns, but we sell all kinds of accessories and sporting goods equipment, things like that. There's a lot of products that are very profitable to us that we cannot sell on Amazon because they are not on Amazon approved or allowed categories. Okay. There's also some restricted categories that are kind of a pain to get involved with, especially if you're a new vendor and it's if you're just starting out, it's better to go find a different product than try to tackle a restricted category right off the bat. And 12, is there potential for you to sell other complementary products to the same market? Remember, we're building a brand. We don't want to sell a one-off product. We want to sell something that we can develop something else or a similar product or a complementary product, have 3, 4, 5, 6 products under the same brand that the same type of people would be interested in buying. Okay? Why? Because if we're going to do all the effort to build the brand, it's better if the brand can sell multiple products. We'll make a whole lot more money than just selling one product. Categories to avoid. Electronics. Asterisk here. Why electronics? Number one, most electronics are name brand driven. Okay? You're probably not going to private label a product that's going to compete with the GoPro. Okay? Or go find a Chinese supplier that's going to sell you something to compete with iPads, right? They're fragile. They're prone to breakage. There's a lot more moving parts. There's things that can happen. Refund rates of electronics is very large as well. The caveat here is that there are some types of electronics that do very well. One of the things that's been really popular lately is the little Bluetooth shower speaker. Okay, I think there was even a Groupon or a Living Social deal or something on them not too long ago. They sold a ridiculous amount of them. They're quite popular on Amazon. So are flashlights, things like that. So there are types of electronics that are very simple or not, I shouldn't say very simple, but are more simple, less brand driven, that can make decent products. The thing you need to consider here is just making sure that you have the right kind of supplier and can afford to handle those slightly higher return rate, because electronics always have a higher return rate than other categories. Jewelry. Jewelry on Amazon is a restricted, borderline, sealed off category. Amazon says point blank on their thing, hey, we're no longer accepting people into the jewelry category to sell jewelry. But if you're an established vendor or you're an established brand, you can still get in. All right, if you are an Etsy jewelry maker or someone like that, probably not, okay? There's also liability with high-end jewelry. There's more restrictions and things like that, so it's typically a category that's not worth getting into. There are ways around that with costume jewelry and party jewelry, like Mardi Gras type stuff, you know, beads and things like that you can still do, but the actual jewelry categories are fairly restricted on Amazon. And I will tell you, on the jewelry thing, I found this out the hard way. We actually went out and we had a piece of jewelry, a pendant, custom made, produced, had a ton of them shipped to the US, and tried to list them on Amazon, and that's how we found out that the jewelry category was not really the best place for us after we spent the money. So it pays to do your research all the way through beforehand before you start jumping into things. Luckily, though, we can still sell through, you know, our own stores and things like that. Books and Kindle books. Books, guys, these books are more of a very bland, low category, right? These are, people aren't going to buy a private labeled book, right? They want, you know, Roots. They want Shogun. They want, you know, 50 Shades of Grey. They want, you know, the new Star Trek book. They want something like that, right? They want the next latest smut book. Same thing with Kindle books. They want cheap 99-cent or free books. Not really the greatest categories to get into for a private label business. Software. Software is, well, Imran, if you're doing CreateSpace, then you're not an FBA seller. You're not private labeling. You're publishing your own book. I have a bunch of books on CreateSpace. Totally different business model than what we're talking about here. Yes, CreateSpace is can be quite profitable if you write a good book that people want, but it doesn't really fall into these categories. Software, again, software is mostly dominated by brands on Amazon for the type of software that's being sold. It's just not really a good category. You also have, you know, production, then you have to deal with the support hoops and everything that Amazon makes you jump through in order to be a software vendor. It's very restricted. Digital downloads, MP3, MP4, apps, etc., low margin, low price point, not really something you really want to play with, okay? All right, is this making sense so far, guys? Anybody learned anything so far? Or maybe had a little bit of an aha moment? This is just the basics, guys.